Okay, so we're recording now.
Okay. Great, and we're at the top of the hour, so.
Yep.
Great, I'm going to push ahead here.
Yep.
Okay, great. Turn my video on, get everybody in. Great, and could I have my ICICLE colleagues, Michelle and Harry, to turn on your videos if it's convenient to say hello to welcome the people to the seminar. We've got Alfonso as well.
Hey folks, very nice to be here. Very nice to meet all of you.
Great. So, all right. Welcome. Delighted that you're spending a little bit of time with us today to learn more about the ICICLE Educational Fellows. I am Beth Plaley. I am the lead of this Educational Fellows program. This is the third year that we are running it. It's a very successful program and a very distinguished program for the ICICLE Institute. I will tell you more about the ICICLE Institute and the program itself. And my colleagues will speak to their perspectives, which are represented in the theme this year. First, I will let them introduce themselves. Harry, you can go again. You've already introduced yourself, but we've had a couple more people come on board. So Harry, please.
Sure. Thank you, Beth. Hi, my name is Hari Subramani. I'm an assistant professor in computer science and engineering at The Ohio State University. I work with Beth, Michelle, Alfonso, and others in the ICICLE AI Institute. I lead the Digital Agriculture Thrust inside ICICLE. Very nice to be here.
Great. Michelle?
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Miller. I'm at the University of Wisconsin-Madison Center for Integrated Agricultural Systems. We do sustainable agriculture work, including food supply chains. So that's part of what I bring to this project. Alfonso and I are part of the food access use case this year, and we look forward to working with you.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Alfonso.
Thank you, Beth, Michelle, Hadi. Very nice to see you all. Very nice to see the group in the meeting. My name is Alfonso Morales. I'm a professor of urban and regional planning and landscape architecture here at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. My lab is the Kaufman Lab for the study of food systems and marketplaces. It has some software associated with it now for 10 years, farm2facts.org, and some new software that Michelle alluded to right now, Food Access Strategy Simulator, which is an agent-based model that will hopefully use computational steering over the next year or 18 months. We'll figure out how to integrate that into the platform that enables professionals to do population-level modeling of responses to changes in the food environment. This could include policy. This could include a grocery store closing or opening. This could include response to a natural disaster, those sorts of things. Thank you for your attention.
Great. And I would suggest that you keep those thoughts in mind as I go through the overview of the program and the Institute. And then we'll come back to some of these specific areas that might be of interest to you. And this would be a very appropriate place for your questions. So let me first just give an overview again. I'm Beth Plaley. I'm at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, and my work is in data management and provenance and trustworthiness of data primarily. So we all represent the and one of the AI institutes. It's it's an institute funded by the National Science Foundation to advance AI and the infrastructure for AI. So AI being artificial intelligence. So the goal of the Institute is to enable artificial intelligence to be used, applied more easily, and what it takes underneath the tools themselves to make that happen. We talk about one should be able to use AI as one turns on electricity. The Institute itself it brings together 14 different institutions across the country. It fosters interdisciplinary communities. It advances foundational artificial intelligence and foundational, what we call cyber infrastructure, which is the software layers that enable computing to happen anywhere in the country. So one's got an operating system on their laptop. Well, if you take that and you make that something that runs anywhere at any time, that means that that communication and whatnot is underneath, and there's a lot of plumbing that goes on underneath. So we focus on the AI and we focus on the plumbing. And then on top of that, we're focusing in areas where this particular approach to AI can be meaningful, and that is in the space of digital agriculture, just basically smart ecology, smart fields, forests, smart food systems, food supply movements in that space. So the Institute it's a 5-year institute. Again, this is the 3rd year of running this Educational Fellows program. The point of the program and the Institute also a point of the program, and one of the goals of the Institute is to then foster the advancement of the use of AI in these broader communities, including the areas that I had just mentioned. So ultimately, and you've seen this, it's in the bottom of the application materials. Ultimately, ICICLE will enable a transparent and trustworthy national infrastructure for an AI-enabled future to address pressing societal problems and enable decision-making for national priorities. We're super excited about the Fellows program because the Fellows program brings in new insight. It gives opportunities to early career people, brings in new ideas. So this tends to be one of the highlights of our engagement is having early career people like you engage with us over a period of about 9 to 12 months. So the program goal, the fellow program goal, is to engage graduate students, postdoc fellows, early career educators, and researchers in a career building opportunity by affiliating with us. You will engage in an exciting AI institute that's pioneering the next generation of cyber infrastructure for AI with direct application to these areas I've mentioned: digital ag, food access and security, and animal ecology. Through this, through becoming a fellow, you are then positioned to apply what you bring: educational, community building, workforce development, expertise, and apply this in the practical setting that ICICLE provides. So in the 2025 call, which is what we're talking about right now, we are interested in questions in the setting of AI and cyber infrastructure knowledge systems in the area of digital ag domain, but in the area of digital ag, including food access strategies, increased resilience of global food systems, AI and cyber infrastructure for AI-driven field studies, AI HPC-enabled tools to aid farmers in increasing productivity, managing pathogen invasions, reducing environmental impact, sustaining profitability, among others. So as we've done in years past, this year we're targeting the fellows. The reason the fellows that are chosen, the reason we're doing that is we seek to have fellows that are doing research and scholarly and educational work and workforce development work that relates to what the other fellows are doing, so that there's a cohort that we were trying to build a cohort across the fellows so that the fellows are basically in subsequent years will stay together and have it's basically building their network. And we also have a set of mentors, of which Harry, Michelle, and Alfonso are mentors for this year. So there can be overlaps in terms of what a mentor can offer, and even co-mentoring that doesn't come when fellows have their expertise all over the place and the mentors are all over the place. So the theme this year is this AI-enabled cyber infrastructure and knowledge systems in the digital ag domain. And again, please ask questions once I get through this overview. Take questions on that. So it is an educational fellow. So it's a 10-month fellowship, and the fellow will be kind of advised by a group that we have in the ICICLE Institute called the Broader Impacts Backbone Network. That's something that I am part of. So we're providing the oversight of the fellowship, the regular check-ins. That's independent from a mentor that you might have, and the intellectual contributions and progress that you're making with the mentor. So you get that dual support there. The types of activities that we have seen in the past is outlined in the application. I expect you've read that over. But what we're trying to capture here, including, positing and carrying out research questions that utilize ICICLE tools, cyber infrastructure, knowledge services, could be focus group discussions with ICICLE stakeholders. There could be educational modules around, say, ethical and privacy awareness. You could serve as ambassadors into your community for what ICICLE is offering that is beneficial. And this could be through hosting workshops, webinars. If you choose to lead a hands-on training, we welcome that. So there are a number of different ways that a fellowship manifests itself in terms of something that's of mutual benefit. So, we want our fellows to, that, because of the terms of the funding that we got for the fellows, to do work that aligns with ICICLE's overall goal. But it's also very important for the fellow to have a career enhancing experience. So we're managing both of those together. With respect to eligibility, again, as I'd mentioned, we are looking for graduate students, postdocs, early career. And when we say early career, we're saying both educators and researchers. So if there's someone in the purely teaching space and would prefer to do a fellowship in that space, we're good with that too. So that's why we're calling out educators as well as researchers. Okay, and we do call out the early career as being less than 3 years of work experience beyond the degree conferral or completion of a postdoc fellowship. We do welcome prior fellows to apply. That is something that we will handle. We do ask that you reach out to us so we can discuss that, but that is certainly something that is welcome. And the way the fellowship works is we started off in May, early May, actually is 1st to 2nd of May, with a cohort building workshop. It's a day-long workshop held. We're going to hold it in Chicago at the Big Ten Center, which is right outside of O'Hare. The mentors come together, the fellows come together, you get to meet each other, and basically the ideas that you're proposing through your application, and these are the fellows that we've selected. So, and that's, last year we brought in 5 fellows. We bring them all together to the cohort meeting. They present what they've proposed, and then we refine that with the mentors in the room. And it's an iterative process. You get to present to your peers. We go through multiple phases. And in that way, you've got something that's well-grounded. You understand the Institute more. You've got something that's meaningful for you, and so on. So that starts the fellowship. And then the fellowship is $6,000, and it and these are in 2 installments. I won't go into that. But there is also there's trips to the cohort meeting that we cover, and then there's also a trip to our wintertime all hands meeting so that you're in front of the ICICLE team as a whole, presenting your contributions. And so again, and then there's a report at the end. So the whole thing is about a 9-month experience. And then you're engaging with us throughout that 9-month period. Let me see if there's anything else in this. You know, we go through a review process. We've got multiple stages of the review process that we do internally to the ICICLE Institute. And let me see if there's anything. I'm sorry, there's one more thing I wanted to call out here. We expect to have award announcements in the early April timeframe. So let me open it for any questions that you might have on the process or the Institute at this time. And then I'm going to turn to my colleagues to, again, dive a little deeper into the specific areas of research they represent so that you can ask questions, maybe trying to probe on alignment with your ideas. So again, let me first just open it to any clarifying questions you might have for us about the Institute or about the Educational Fellow program. And please just put up your hand or, you know, just pop open. As long as, you know, we don't have contention here, you can just start talking too.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I am
Hey.
Said Reza from Penn State, Harrisburg. I have a quick questions about this fellowship so you mentioned in your eligibility criteria that applicants must be available to attend in-person Spring 2025 cohort in May
Mhm.
and in the fall or in the spring. When you mention in the fall, how many days you are expecting us to be in your facility or in your building?
Mhm. Yeah, so thank you for that. And we were a bit vague there. So the May event is it's actually a 2-day event. I think we do a day and a half there. So it's the 1st and 2nd of May. Then the follow-on corresponds to our all hands meeting, which is a couple-day meeting. So that sometimes it's been in December, sometimes it's been in January. So that's what we were trying to get at. So it would be a 2-day event. And it would be somewhere between the beginning part of December and the end of January. We don't know exactly when that would be.
But are we expecting it will be around 2 to 3 days in the semester maximum?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's a 2-day meeting. So yeah. So depends. The last one was in San Diego, so you had to build in a little bit of time to get there. In the previous years, it was in Columbus, Ohio, which is quite close to where you're at. So a little bit of travel time to and from, but it's a 2-day meeting. And we
Thank
do
you.
it's beneficial for you to be there the whole time because then, and that's the opportunity to get to know colleagues and mentors and whatnot. You know, we try
Yes.
to at the all hands meeting, we do things with our early career group, also that could be beneficial to the fellows.
I agree. Thank you.
Was there someone else that was popping up to say something?
I posted a question on the chat.
Excellent. Well, let's look at the chat then. Is there good? So it's a baby? How do you pronounce your name? A baby ICICLE?
Yeah,
Yes, excellent. Good. So congrats on the Jetstream Fellowship. No, there's no conflict.
thank you very much.
Yeah, good question. Other questions? Well, as you're thinking about them, I will turn things over. I'm going to call my colleagues on the
One
spot
more
again.
questions
Go ahead.
for me.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Misha? Mhm.
what would be the nature of the mentorship? Would it be a one-to-one with somebody who has experience with AI, or is it we doing the stuff and somebody monitoring our progress?
It's actually both. So you will have a mentor, and you're seeing 3 mentors here. So you can, listen to their expertise. But we do also provide we have a program manager who meets with the fellows regularly just to ensure that they're not running into issues, that basically they're not running into issues. And she also facilitates conversation amongst the fellows and basically just tries to lower the burden for the mentor, so that when a fellow does meet with the mentor, they're really just discussing the content of the fellowship and not some of the logistics of it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So, Harry, can I turn things over to you and have you give your perspective on the kinds of things a mentor might be, the kinds of things a fellow might be involved in?
Sure. So let me give a quick overview of what we are doing in the digital agriculture project. Depending on the interests of the mentees and the availability of the projects, we can try to see where people would fit. So as Beth mentioned, this is a like cross-disciplinary effort. So this is work being done between computer scientists who have expertise on systems, who have expertise on AI, and with food, agricultural scientists, agronomists, farmers, industry partners, to see how we can put together an end-to-end workflow that will benefit various stakeholders in the domain. As part of the work, again, it is not just technical. We do a lot of outreach. We conduct workshops, tutorials, a lot of things like that. So what I will try to do is I'll try to give an overview of the project so that you get an overall picture of what all work that we do. Again, I'm trying to compress about 3 years of work by over 30 people into about like 8 minutes. So there is going to be significant loss of information. But the hope is that you will get a high level picture of what we are trying to achieve. So until 2 years ago, I was blissfully unaware of the differences between soy, corn. I used to grab it from grocery stores or eat it, but I did not know how it was produced. If you took me to a field, I could not tell the difference between a corn and a soy plant. Okay, things have changed in the last couple of years, and I'm very happy about that as well. So if you look at farmers and farms or crops in general, you have a lot of crop health related issues. You could have defoliation, you could have blight, you could have, let's say, fungal infestations, a lot of things like that. So farmers typically tend to diagnose these issues and perform crop management interventions. It could be like spraying fungicide, pesticide, weedicide, or adding nitrogen, things like that. So far, all of that work has been done based on the expertise of the farmers themselves. Okay, there is a significant lack of cyber infrastructure, or let's say software infrastructure, that allows the farmers to take advantage of the advances happening in the domain of artificial intelligence as well as supercomputing to make more informed decisions. So what do I mean by this? If you look at the tri-state area, in the Midwest, what farmers get in terms of guidance for applying nitrogen is 2 tables and 3 lines. Okay, this is summarizing about 20 years worth of research. This is really a disservice that we are doing to farmers. Can we do better? Can the current AI and supercomputing boom help fill the vacuum of cyber infrastructure and create high performance and AI enabled solutions for farmers? That is what we are trying to achieve here. So as I mentioned, there is systems related work, there is AI work, there is work to create the data, collect the data, curate the data. We go out on the field with our colleagues in the ag domain, try to collect data from tractors or drones. So we really have the end-to-end spectrum here. So if you look at it, there are lots of crop health issues. Do I have the right amount of residue cover on the soil? Is the aggregate size right? Is the crop developing in the proper rate at the proper pace? Are they emerging correctly? Do I have defoliation? Is there blight? And based on all of this, we take a lot of corrective actions like selective spraying, applying more nitrogen. Should I replant or not replant? Should I till again or not till? And the goal is to see if we can create a cyber infrastructure to fill the vacuum which currently exists. So we have created a lot of solutions which are enabled by high performance computing and artificial intelligence to create very simple output for various stakeholders in the agriculture domain. Now, why are we doing this and what is the big deal? So there is a widening gap between AI-driven products in agriculture and the emerging needs of all agricultural producers. Let me give an example. So if you take a look at John Deere, they have solutions like See and Spray, which is able to detect if there is a weed in a green background and selectively spray herbicide. Even such a simple solution has resulted in a reduction of 70 to 90% in herbicide application. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have been to Lake Erie around Cleveland, but it's pretty dirty up there. It's one of the main reasons is nutrient and other runoff from farms into our lake and other ecosystems. If something as simple as this can have a significant impact, what impact would there be if we are able to expand this to a lot of other domains beyond weed management? What is preventing this right now? There is a significant lack of software infrastructure for collecting, curating the data, using that data to train models, and using those trained models to generate results for farmers. So if you look at it, all farms are unique, all farmers are unique. So the solutions should also be unique. But if you look at large corporations, they lack the financial incentive to tailor the solutions for maybe a broccoli farmer or a cauliflower farmer. They are focused mostly on corn and soy, which are the major cash crops in the United States. And currently, there is only a small subset of technology available. What we are trying to see is, can we, as an institute, address this problem by creating democratized solutions which are AI and HPC enabled to collect, curate, train with this data, and create final visualizations for farmers so that they are able to take very simple spray or no spray kind of decisions for their farms. So this is the overall architecture. This is the pipeline that we are creating. Now, let me give a demo of the overall workflow that we have created.
Welcome to the future of agriculture. This is ICICLE's AI cyber infrastructure for end-to-end processing of digital agriculture use cases. As a user of this framework, you can easily compose and manage your jobs, all from one convenient and user-friendly interface, which is connected to an HPC backend, where your jobs will be accelerated on modern GPUs and CPUs.
Just 1 second. Are you able to hear any audio?
The dashboard is your...
We hear some, yeah, we do hear audio.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me share again with the audio. I don't.
We can't hear it.
We were hearing it.
You were hearing it? Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Control Center. Here you can select from many modules to compose your new jobs. Depending on the nature of your job, you can take advantage of one or a combination of modules, including data collection and pre-processing, image labeling and high-performance model training, model inference, and visualization of results. The dashboard provides a comprehensive overview of your resource usage, data storage, and processing times. Let's walk through an example of creating a job which uses all of these different modules. The use case here is classification of growth stages in a cornfield, where the goal is to train and use a deep learning model to analyze phenotypic data and provide detailed insights on the growth stage. Let's create the new job. The first stage is data collection and pre-processing, where you can import your data from Model Commons or upload it from your edge device directly. Once the pre-processing is done, we will have access to download and examine the pre-processed dataset. For now, let's move on to the next step, which is the model training. This page shows a list of model training options. The values will be populated by default for beginner users. At the same time, advanced users can adjust the training hyperparameters. The domain expert will then provide a number of labeled images for each class. This current page shows the first growth stage class, as shown in the very top. We can navigate through the samples and select representative images. Then we'll click Submit to move on to the next class to be labeled. Once the images are labeled for all the classes, distributed DNN training will be submitted automatically on behalf of the user. For inference, the user can select the inference task they wish to perform. In here, our task, again, is growth stage classification. Then we can select the model to use for inference. We can hit Submit, and that will take us back to the job overview page. Now, let's go to the final stage, which is visualization. The heat map is a view of the entire field. There are several blocks, each one of them is color-coded based on its predicted growth stage. The user can click on individual blocks, review the zoomed-in images, and provide feedback to the system if they think the classification is incorrect. Finally, let's look at the results gallery. Here, the user can examine individual images, their predictions, and the confidence score provided by the deep learning model. This job is now considered complete, so let's quickly go back to the dashboard. We can see the updated account statistics with the remaining SUs and storage. The new job list now shows the job that was just completed, and the user always has the option to go back and visit completed jobs. This concludes our overview of the framework, so thank you very much for listening.
So this is a high-level overview of the framework that we have created to process the data. Now, how do you collect the data and move the data? So we have what is called as the OpenPass ecosystem. You see a small drone flying automatically in the right bottom corner, right? So OpenPass allows us to create waypoints, just like on a Google map, saying that, hey, I want the drone to fly from here to here to here to here. And while it is flying, I wanted to collect the images and transfer the images to the pipeline. So as a whole, what we have created is an end-to-end pipeline where you can collect the data, move the data, curate the data, train on the curated data, and create models so that we are able to generate visualizations for farmers depicting the current state of their field. There is work for fellows to perform in the entire spectrum, be it software development, systems research, AI research, deployment, outreach, and engagement with various stakeholders. So I hope that this gives a very high-level overview of what we are trying to achieve, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have. As I mentioned, I had to shrink about 3 years worth of work into probably about 10 minutes. Sorry for the probable loss of information. I'm more than happy to take any questions if you have. Beth, did that cover most of the things that you wanted to? Any other thoughts or?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, and specifically, if you can wrap back around and just kind of revisit the, you know, in what ways could a fellow envision themselves contributing to this, or, you know, yeah, or connecting to this. And I know some of this you said at the beginning, but I think with this context, it might be helpful to revisit that.
Sure. So from the perspective of the project, we have lots of work that you can do. You can help with data collection or curation. You can help with data pre-processing. You can help in training models. So all sorts of things. So it depends on what the expertise and interest of the individual fellow is, and we can try to create projects or experiences based on that interest and expertise.
So if they wanted to use it in their research or use it in some, you know, classroom setting or take it and use it in a community setting or something like that? Is that possible also?
Yes. So these solutions are available. So as you know, we are working with a lot of other AI institutes who want to use the software that we have created. So for instance, let's say if one of the fellows are maybe somewhere in Iowa, they want to see if their farm is being tilled right. If they have a farm out. So if they have some images from there, we can create accounts for them on HPC systems. They could interact with that system, upload their images, train them, and use the pipeline that we have created. So they can interact with us as like potential end users. That is definitely possible.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And let me just point out that one of the unique assets of this ICICLE Institute is we're connected to large scale computers on the back end. So if there's something that you want to run that takes a lot of computational resources, that's part of what we're doing, is connecting to those big resources. So, and that's, yeah, when Harry mentioned HPC, that's what we were, that's the connection there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Beth.
So questions for Harry, questions for me? Otherwise, we're going to move on to Michelle and then Alfonso. Questions?
All right. I'll be here if you have any.
And also, yeah, we've got some people that are registering things in chat. We'll be following up if you put questions in chat. So you can use that as a vehicle also if that's your preferred communication mechanism. So while you're thinking about that, then Michelle, let me turn to you.
Hi. Thanks, Beth. So Alfonso and I are part of a team that's working on food access from 3 different scales: the federal scale, national scale, the regional scale, and the more local scale. So I am working on the national and regional scales, and in those 2 projects, we have a fellow now, Rose Santa Gonzalez, who worked with us on stakeholder engagement, and then helping us figure out what it is that we could do from an AI perspective to improve regional food flow and logistics. So an example of one of the things that we're doing is we're having a meeting next Thursday as part of the Organic Farming Conference to bring together about 50 different businesses and organizations that work on food distribution to think about what it would take to develop a super transport co-op where a farmer who had a truck that was available for 6 months of the year could help distribute food in that region. And the main hub would do the logistical work. So we've been talking with them about what kinds of software would be useful for them. We're helping them develop a scenario for 2 years from now, when we expect a whole lot more infrastructure to go online. We'll be using synthesized data for that. And so that effort is part of what will be happening in the next 6 months for our project. It's been really fun to be able to mentor somebody and to help them kind of grasp where this large group of regional food producers want to go. A chunk of them are tribal food producers, and so it's even more complex than it is for those who are relying on the conventional food system for food. I noticed that Fizzy is on the call. I think she's still on the call. Did she go? Yep, no, she's still there. And Fizzy was our a fellow last time. I don't know if we have a little time to spare to let her talk a little bit about the fellowship process, but I thought she might have some helpful insight as well.
Excellent. Yeah, I think we can take that. I mean, Alfonso, we'll come back to you if you have anything to add there. But yeah, Fizzy, please. Again, Fizzy was an educational fellow, an ICICLE Educational Fellow this past year. So she is here to answer questions. I'll volunteer you to answer questions, but please, Fizzy, go ahead and introduce yourself and you can say a little bit about your fellowship.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Fizzy. I'm currently a research engineer in Georgia Tech, and I was the ICICLE Fellow last year for 2024. I was exactly working on this food project, like food security and access under different climate conditions. Like Beth mentioned, that was like our focus last year. So I had a really great experience with ICICLE, meeting a variety of different people, and really, my background is in civil engineering. I really got to know a lot of the computer scientists, and I think it was a nice interaction. Like there are some areas that me as the domain scientist were able to provide, like some of the different data sources and potential modeling approaches. But also, I saw great potential in my research, enabled by high performance computing and AI and all of these new techniques. So I would definitely encourage everyone to apply to this fellow. Personally, I think it's beyond my expectation. So if you have any question, feel free to ask me. I will stay at the end of the call.
Thank you, Fizzy. We did not ask her to say that.
Yeah.
So I do have a question in chat. Alfonso, I'm just going to, well, actually, Michelle, this is probably a good question for you. And then Alfonso, we'll queue you up. Recruiting, and this is from Faisha. Recruiting farmers to work with requires trust and incentive. Are there practical results we can quote as examples to onboard local farmers? And I know you have certainly grappled with this quite a bit. So please.
Yes, and so is Alfonso. I think one of the things that we can offer as mentors and as the ICICLE core members also are those connections already with farmers who are interested in working on this. So for instance, Hari's project on soybeans, the Soybean Association in Ohio was already on board and working in this area, which is why that use case became a use case. In my case, we've been working with tribal farmers and farmers who are interested in growing for the regional local markets. And so they were all, we can bring those people to you. And I think Alfonso would say the same.
Yes, I would.
Please.
And so it's a very astute question because all kinds of scientists, biological, physical, engineering, computer scientists, they need domain scientists to work with, and domain scientists need the community. So the three have to work together. And that is what another way of saying what Michelle just said. We can support that. We have I have 30 years of experience working with community members on a variety of projects. Most recently, this platform for the last 10 years that I dropped in the chat there. We work with more than 100 farmers markets around the country. And thousands of farmers in those markets to help them do things, for them to be the PI. Okay, Fisha, they're recruiting us as much as we're recruiting them. We need to take that seriously, that equality of relationship seriously. Okay.
Great. Alfonso, is there and thank you for answering that. Is there anything else you want to add to the you summarized the research as you introduced yourself. If there's anything else you'd like to add in terms of how a fellow might engage in ICICLE from your perspective?
Great. Yes, Beth, thanks. So let me ask you in return real quick, Beth. Should I answer that question and then go immediately into the work, or should I preface the answer of that question with some discussion of the FAS and F2F? How would you like me to, or should I wait because I don't know if Michelle was done? Do you see what I mean?
Michelle, do you want to?
I was done. I don't think, I mean, if you want more information on our project, just contact me. I'd be happy to. But largely, we've been doing stakeholder engagement and helping them understand what AI can bring to them in terms of collaborative logistics. That's it in a nutshell.
Great. So Alfonso, perhaps re-upping the projects now that the groups, the early career folks have more context, and then points of engagement. That seems reasonable.
Sure thing. Great, Beth. I will do that. So then let me start, actually, folks. Let me get everybody listening because I'd like to get your reaction real quick. How many folks here are interested in wildlife ecology? Because I saw a note in the chat about that. How many people are wildlife ecology people?
You put your hand up.
One. Okay. One is great. That's great.
I teach zoology.
Okay. Fisher, thank you. That's great. So there's some there that those are important. How about digital agriculture? How many people are on this call specifically to listen to Hardy in his work about his work? All right, Matthew, thank you.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Fuchsia. That's great.
And okay.
Yemi, thank you.
Yemi, okay.
Okay, great. How many people are interested in food? I suppose food systems of the sort Michelle spoke about, or of the sort of local distribution, local production, farmers market type things, food security, that sort of thing. Is anybody interested in that?
I thought that goes down with the local farmer thing.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So yeah, so local questions of local and regional food, farm relationships, food security, those two people. Okay, so that accounted for about half the audience. So does the other half? I'm just curious. Will someone please tell us, and it's okay, about your relative experience with AI. Tell us real quick why you're in this call. Give us an idea of what you're looking for, real quick, please. Please, anybody. I'm a professor, so I will call on you.
May I?
Go ahead.
I am a professor in my early stage, so I teach genetics and zoology, and I'm interested in local agriculture. I haven't gone into it deeply, but I have a few seeds that I would want to start experimenting with. But with AI, I'm looking for not something I can do in my lab, but in applying it, like you said, if we can apply it to local farmers, if we can bring in the power of AI to the local farmers and see the projections in the short term or the long term, and see how it can apply in improving their productivity, improving their logistics, and anything in whatever they do.
Got it. Thank you. That's great. So real quick, Primus, could you please respond then?
Yes. My aim for being on this call is I'm looking to see what AI is already being used for, the use cases that are currently being applied for using AI, and how those can be improved upon, and how software engineering principles and techniques and products as well will help in those processes, especially in agriculture and sustainability.
Great. Thank you very much. Yemi, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Opeyemi, and I'm a second-year PhD student in the College of Computing, UNC Charlotte. And my interest is in digital agriculture. And one thing I've kind of struggled with is trying to understand, what emphasis this program is, what emphasis it is laying on. Okay, sorry, let me backtrack. So I struggle with knowing if the emphasis is on educational aspects or the technological aspects, right? Because I'm kind of like more interested in the technological aspects, but some area of, or some aspect of my research is also trying to look into how to use whatever system I work on in STEM education.
Yeah, I saw that in your chat. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I get a sense of it. Let me speak now as quickly as I can. So I'll take about 5 minutes, I hope, and then add maybe a 2-minute video demonstration. So Farm to Facts has been working local and regional farms for 10 years. Like I said, you can look at that platform. I dropped it in the chat. What it basically what it does is it makes the farmer's market manager and the farmer the PI of their market. Okay, it makes them the PI of their market. And the sort of work that it enables them to do is the following, right? So farmers can use the ecosystem services tool to get a sense of the various ways that they help the local ecology.
I'm sorry,
So
Alfonso, can you put that on a slide? Perfect. Okay, never mind.
yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
So it helps farmers track and communicate their environmental impacts, right? It's customizable. The farmer does it. The farmer enters the data, the farmer owns the data, the farmer creates the graphics, the farmer deploys the graphics at the market, and then we find out what happens with consumer behavior. Do consumers purchase more because a farm is operating ecologically in a good way or not? So that's the Farm to Facts tool, right? You can get this sort of data at the level of the farmer, at the level of the market, but that is just a cyber infrastructure tool. This does not currently introduce AI. But for instance, one thing we could do is integrate Hadi's. You heard Hadi speak about his interest in working with specialty crop farmers. That is what the USDA labels everybody who's not corn and beans. Specialty crops is vegetables, fruits, all kinds of things like that. And then, of course, there's animal husbandry, chickens, poultry, cattle, pork. So Farm to Facts is a local thing that works with individual farmers and farmers markets and is aggregatable. And from that, it can create, it uses these it creates, the market manager or farmer creates graphics and deploys those graphics in support of their business. Now, you could imagine how our ecosystem services tools could benefit from AI, from the sort of work that Heidi's doing, and you can imagine some integration there. For instance, this is a graphic that shows how deeper soil health metric associated with ecosystem tools could become in this part right here, deeper soil science based on convergence science, including ICICLE. This is where that harvest platform could come in. And so in the back end, the cyber infrastructure could reconcile the different data collected by something in the harvest platform to the data collected in the Farm to Facts platform and enrich the user's knowledge of what they're doing. Does this make sense to folks? Can I get a
Yes,
show?
it does.
Makes sense. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is not so for it to be AI, right? We need further integration. For it to be real AI and CI tool, we need further integration. Now let's take another step. You heard Michelle talk about the 3 projects that are basically coming out of the University of Wisconsin that span everything from thinking about national food distribution via freight to mid-level regional distribution of the conference that she's part of and organizing, which I'm happy to say I have a vague relationship with from 15 years ago when we did the first one of those conferences. But I remain an author in that area as well. And then we have local food security sorts of questions. And those local food security sorts of questions are very important from policy point of view and from hunger point of view. Food access and food security, that makes a real difference to people. So what we have created is something called the Food Access Strategy Simulator, okay, which is an agent-based model, okay? What's an agent? Well, let me go through a couple of things real quick, and maybe this will make sense to you. Let's see here. So the FAST model wants to provide local government and food security organizations with a predictive tool so that they can do scenario planning and other kinds of work. So this thing is a software being created by a team composed of food security and government professionals in lots of places, including the postdoc Michelle referred to, Rose Santa Gonzalez. So we simulate policy problems before real life implementation. And last year at the Summit on AI Leadership, I told the Department of Homeland Security, what if we would have had a predictive model like this when Hurricane Helene hit the Gulf Coast, dumping torrential rainfalls? What if we would have deployed that model in Asheville, North Carolina, where 20 some odd tons of food were sitting in a river bottom, right next to a large river that could flood? What if that food would have been moved to places where it would have been needed most subsequent to whatever that natural disaster was? Well, if you look in the Google, if you newspaper this, you'll find that we lost tons of food, 20 odd tons of food, because they didn't realize of the catastrophic floods that were coming and they didn't reposition it. So the model reflects real life. We look at household size, vehicles, income, employees. We look at census data. We put those things into an agent. We ask ourselves and we model how agents access food. We model that with particular scores, and we've got to improve these models. That's a way to engage. We have a model that I wanted to show you real quick. Stop.
We do need to, we've got people that are dropping off.
Ooh, gotta go. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be
getting to
quiet.
the top of the hour.
Yes, I will drop in the chat a thing that you can look at if you'd like, or it can be shared with you, the YouTube video of the last engagement that we
So
had. Sorry,
Alfonso,
thanks.
we could post that on the webpage too for the Fellows program, so folks can look at it as a resource.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. We've got a deadline coming up as we had our moderator post in the chat that if you've got questions on, fit of your idea, put them to us at pti@iu.edu and we will give you feedback. We're not going to say yes or no, but we can, perhaps give you some sense of fit. So to help you out. Okay. Thank you all. We appreciate your time, and thank you to my colleagues for spending this hour with us. All right. And good luck to you all. Bye.